first step to creating your succulent planter is you take that soil that, if you have not seen the video on how you make this soil, I have one of those that I'll link it below. But if you don't want to make your own, you can always go to the big box store like a Home Depot or a Lowe's and get that already pre-made succulent soil. So you want your succulent soil, you need an odd number of succulent plants, and I'm going to use 5 for the size of the container. You'll have to judge what number you need according to how big your planter is and how big the plants themselves are. These are little baby plants and we have a small planter, so we chose 5. That and then our container. The container that you use, you want to make sure that is an unglazed, ideally you want unglazed, which is what this one is, and actually ideally you want it to have a drain hole in the bottom of it. This one does not have that. So to keep that drainage, make sure that those roots are not getting wet all the time, we're gonna add pea gravel to the bottom. So you need some pea gravel. A bag of pea gravel is about $4 at the garden center. Let's get started. The first thing you wanna add is the pea gravel to the bottom. Basically you wanna add a couple inches to the bottom if you don't have a drain hole, because you wanna make sure that those succulent roots are not sitting in water. So we're gonna add that first. And real dusty. Basically, succulents do not like wet roots. They just like to really have not nice soil. The biggest thing about succulents that we tend to do is that we overwater them. So we want to make sure that we don't do that here and make sure that they're all draining very, very well. All right, and then the second thing you want to do after you've added the pea gravel is to go to the soil. So we've got this soil that has no compaction to it, right? It's going to let those roots grow really easily. You've got sand and soil and I keep saying Pedialyte, but it's perlite. I have babies. That's what I'm used to saying. All right, so you've got this perlite in here that helps keep it from compacting. You want to throw that on top of the pea gravel. You can smooth it out as you go if you want. I'm gonna dump it all in there. Looks like I'm gonna need it all. All right, so you can fill it a little higher if you want to. I'm gonna leave it just like that. And then what I like to do is to go ahead and arrange what my succulents are gonna look like before I put them in. So I already have them designed and I know how they're gonna look when they get into the planter. And in this case, what I wanted to do was to balance variegated and the colors and all that together in this one arrangement. So you've got some purples, you've got some variegated whites and greens, light greens, dark greens, some maroon, and I think overall it just makes a really nice arrangement. So the way I like to start is to take the one that you're gonna have in the center, which again, when you have odd numbers, you're gonna have one in the center and then some off to the sides. So I like to take the one that's in the center and go ahead and plant it in the center of your container so that you can then evenly divide the rest of them throughout. So we're gonna go ahead and dig that hole. Again, you wanna dig it closer to one side so that the others can stagger back and forth in a V pattern on either side of it. So you take your plant, you dig a small hole with your fingers, put the succulent down in there and just push the soil back around it. And it's gonna feel loose in there because everything is so dry right now. Eventually it'll start to grow together. And then what you can do is to go to your corners. That's gonna be on the same side as your center plant. So you go to this side, it's my left side, it's your right side. Plant that guy in there, cover him up. Come to this side, the opposite side, and plant that one in there. And then you can come back, so all these 3 are along one side, and then your 2 are gonna come staggered in between. Right here in this line in between on either side, you'll have your remaining plants. I really love that we've got tall and short, we've got kind of spiky texture with the leaves, and we've got smooth round texture with the leaves. There's just a nice even balance of different colors and textures. All Alright, so that's pretty much it. If you want to, you can fill in with more soil around here. The biggest thing that kills a succulent is that we love them too much and we care for them too much and they end up dying of overwatering. So just make sure to keep an eye on your succulent arrangement. This one in particular is about 4 inches by 9 inches, 5 plants in it, and it only needs about a half a cup of water every 2 weeks. So we're gonna go ahead and water it now, then mark the calendars for 2 weeks from now, and then we'll water it again. So I'll show you what that looks like, because you wanna make sure that you're watering at the root and at the soil of the plant and not onto the leaves. Especially in a tight arrangement like this, the plants can get moldy and mildewy at the leaves without enough air circulation. So just make sure that you get in there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but they're gonna love just having this small amount of water. And that is really it. 2 weeks from now, we'll come back and we'll water again and they should thrive. Now, if you ever need to, as they get larger and larger, you can divide the plant up and just start this process all over again and even add little pieces, so there's some big and some small. So I hope that you enjoyed this succulents arrangement class. If you have any comments, you can comment below and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.